Hey guys, Rick Bashir here with Blue Shield Tactical Systems. Today I'm with instructor Jason Taylor, and we're going to be talking about de-escalation. Okay, what do you think are some of the misunderstandings when it comes to de-escalation?
One of the biggest misunderstandings, Ray, is that de-escalation is strictly words only, right?
Okay.
De-escalation, if I think of de-escalation in my head, I think, well, we've got the Jedi mind trick here, Ray. We don't have to do anything except,
Right.
please don't hit me with that pipe. Please step away, place the weapon on the ground.
Right.
That's not really what de-escalation is.
But there are companies out there that teach de-escalation as the end-all, the be-all.
That is true. It is not the special coin-all phrase of I don't need to use force. De-escalation does not mean I don't need to use force in Latin. What de-escalation means is controlling the situation safely. And what I mean by safely, that means using proper force to control an individual and maintain control of them to keep the situation safe.
Right. And, technically, using a taser would be a form of de-escalation, would it not?
This is true. If using a taser and bringing that individual under control is the safest means to do so,
Right.
I have de-escalated the situation.
Exactly, because if we're using a lesser form of force, the less probability of us having to use deadly force. Now, de-escalation and officer presence is the beginning of that encounter, and maybe we're using our verbal skills to try to calm the individual down to a certain degree.
Correct.
But again, if it's time to use force, guys, we teach you to use force. We don't teach you to use de-escalation in place of, verbal de-escalation in place of physical force, right?
Correct. One thing that people forget, Ray, is also if I have to use a certain amount of force, all prior methods of force are still there. If
Sure.
I have to use the taser, if I have to go hands-on, my verbal skills don't stop.
Right.
My verbal direction, my command presence does not stop in that action. If I'm striking an individual with a taser, or I'm using a taser, if I'm striking someone with an impact baton, I'm still using verbal skills to control the situation.
Yeah.
That's a way to de-escalate it as well.
And we see people sometimes get caught in that loop, right?
Where
it's
the feedback loop of crazy?
Yeah, where it's
I
the
know.
feedback
Yes.
loop of crazy. I like that one. But it's the same thing. They keep saying the same words over and over again.
Okay.
And it's not working.
Nope, and it's not working. When we get stuck in that feedback loop, it's how many times you yell at your kids when they're upstairs and they're trying to do some work, right? It's the same mentality. If I'm screaming and yelling at someone and I'm stuck in that feedback loop, there's one of two things that need to happen. Either one, someone needs to say, Ray, why don't you take a step back a little bit?
Sure,
right?
sure.
Or have a trigger, have some word in your head that would say, listen, I've asked this person to do something about 20 times. Maybe there's a different approach. Maybe I need to step outside the box and reassess it. All right? There's nothing wrong with reassessing it and taking a different approach.
And what would you, going off that, what would you recommend? If you see an officer out there, maybe that's getting themselves into a situation that could turn into an IA, right? Because they've lost their cool and you're the backup and you recognize it. What are some of the things, how do you think you can intervene there as an officer to help them out?
So, if you think there comes to that situation where an officer is saying something, if you think it's going south, if you think an issue is going to be maybe a questionable, maybe an officer gets sucked into a situation, somebody questions his credibility, somebody hits that red button per se, or hits too close to home.
The go button.
The go button, right?
Yeah.
What we can do is have a way to de-escalate that officer. And what I mean by de-escalate that officer is maybe have a way to say, hey man, do me a favor, I've dealt with this guy before. All right, let me talk to him for 1 second. Why don't you do me a favor, get some information, go over here for a second, I'll be right with you. Because that 10 seconds of that de-escalation of the officer could save his career. All right, it could save time, tactics, training that you don't need later because you took the time to say, hey Ray, do me a favor, take a step back, I got it, we're good. Then we can 10-5 later, we can sit next to each other.
Hopefully later I'm going to tell you thank you.
All right.
Right?
Hopefully.
Yes.
Like, hey Ray, thanks for the career. All right, good job.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
So maybe that 10 seconds, and remember, sometimes we need to take our ego, take a pen and pop it, because ego's on both sides of the fence.
Sure.
But if I have an ego too big for me, eventually I'm going to get in trouble.
Right. Hey guys, for videos like this, hopefully today you enjoyed the topic a little bit, but for videos like this, log on to blueshieldtactical.com, and if you ever need anything, we're all law enforcement officers, we're here to help you, so you're more than welcome to email us or call us. Guys, be safe out there and watch your six. Thanks.